good today.
This is the last of them, huh?
Yep. I started this morning about 7.
You did?
Yeah.
Damn. So that's 12, 11 o'clock.
We get about, I think about, how many fillets we get on them? Each set, about 12?
14 and 7, right? 14 and 8.
So about 12 and 5, yeah, 17. 17 fillets per.
17
Because they're double foiled up, so yeah.
17 fillets is how many salmon?
60, say 60, I think.
And only 17 fillets?
Per set, you know, so.
Oh, per set. So 60 salmon. So that's 120 fillets, right?
Yep.
And you guys cleaned them up and whatnot?
Yeah.
Cool.
How many pounds of salmon is that about?
I'm gonna break this down here. So what do you think those average were? About 13 pounds, 12 pounds?
Yeah. Yeah, 12, 13 pounds.
Oh man, you got quick texting.
720 pounds, about.
Whoa.
And that came from Lower River?
Little White. We filleted everything yesterday. Dressed them.
How long did that take?
Not long, about maybe an hour. Filleting took about 2 or 3 hours. But
How many guys?
3.
So, can you open this? You can pass it to you.
To the paper or to you?
To the paper.
I don't know if we want to do that, but
No, Charlie hasn't yet, with 13 years, so I guess we better keep it going.
What are you smoking on?
alderwood.
Oh, nice.
You want a picture of this first?
Oh yeah.
Get my good side, Jim.
So is that going to stay warm?
Got a warmer over there.
So you got lemon slices on there?
Yep, lemon, onion. That's all I'm gonna give you. The rest is like a butter seasoning we make.
Nice. The special rub.
Yep. Going on what? 22 years, same one.
22 years?
I think actually 21 because they didn't have it the first year, open house the first year, and they started the following year. I think 98 was the first year.
Is that how long this has been going on?
Yeah. Yep. Every year. We almost didn't have it this year because the fish runs are so low. We didn't get any fish from any. We didn't get any fish here for excess anyway, and we didn't get any from our. Just numbers are low everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, we didn't even get the fish this year. Family usually goes fishing, gill net fishing, and I think we haven't had a chance to go the last 2 or 3 years now. But hopefully it picks up.
Yeah, he said some part of the water up there is way warmer than usual, so it's pushing them up north.
Yeah.
It's hard to get.
Oh yeah.
up there.
Once they hit that warm water, they don't want to come through it. They stop and just hang out there or turn around.
Yeah, they've been getting better weather up there in Alaska than we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it.
Until now, thankfully. Finally.
Yeah.
So,
It's boating season now. We got, what, 3 weeks of boating season. That alder smoke, though, puts all the flavor in it. It's good.
oh, it's so good.
process put on it to see just lemon, any salt, pepper, anything else? Or
Salt, pepper, garlic, butter.
Don't tell them.
KFC.
Yeah. We put mayonnaise, ketchup, barbecue sauce. Yeah, we usually fill up the tote, but this year we only had, like we said, 60 fish. Usually every year we do about 80. So what's that, 40 fillets light? So, like I said, we're lucky we even got some fish to do it this year.
That's crazy. And they're low pretty much. They're low a lot of places.
Yep.
Not just here.
This will feed 500 people easy.
750 pounds.
Yeah, because we have enough to give away at the end usually. To most of our volunteers and everybody, so we'll hand them out to at the end. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if we'll be able to do that this year.
Yeah, I bet you will eat them all.
30 volunteers this year. Something around there. We got Job Corps kids, our hatchery host, fishery employees from Lower Valley, and then Charlie's family always helps out a lot. Should we go put these ones away before they get cold?
Yeah, probably should.
Time! Work! Detail! Halt! Left! Peace! Present! Arms! So when we play your ranch song, we'd ask you to step out. United States Army. in our beer. Thank you, Janetta. Thank you, Snake. Now we're going to play taps in honor of those that paid the supreme sacrifice. Detail, present, hunt! Order, hunt! You can sing.
Thank you, Vic, and the Yakima Warriors. As always, it's an honor to have you attend our event, and it's fitting that we honor our future and our past and our present heroes. You guys are the American heroes, our true American heroes, and thank you again for coming. Thanks for being excellent students on the tour, so they know all about fish, and I appreciate it. So with that, I'm going to invite Jerry Lewis come up and give us a prayer and bless our meal. But prior to that, this year was a questionable year because, as we know, the runs for all salmon are not on I guess a great coming back in numbers. So we were able to pull some strings and get some salmon. That's where the shirts, it says WTF. That stands for Where's the Fish? So we were able to find some fish with the help of some of our network in the Columbia River with some Little White Salmon Hatchery. Jerry was able to assist on that. But again, thanks for everyone for attending, and thanks for all those that are wearing the shirts for your volunteer efforts, whether you're a fisheries employee, Job Corps, family member. It's a little bit of work to put this together, and a special thanks to the staff here at Cle Elum. They do an excellent job, and as in past years, they work tirelessly to keep our sites running. We have this main facility and 3 other satellite facilities, and as one former fish hatchery said, that fish don't have holidays, they don't have early release. They don't have funeral leave, wedding leave, or they can't take off for personal leave. So we got to maintain and care for them 24 hours a day. And so I thank you and for other volunteers. I see Tim Egan over there. I got to point him out. You might know him in the community, but he volunteers a lot here too. With that, Jerry, would you do us the honors?
in Minaimoma, Inknash Winikshas Kalula. On this day, as we've come here to these grounds, which at one time was just an idea, a promise that was made by the government that there would be a facility built. And I know for the longest time that it was just on paper. Mr. Lynn Hatcher, who is here, was a big part of that at that time. He was the program manager that overseen fisheries. And the man standing next to him has assumed the duty, Mr. Paul Lord, who is now the fisheries manager. And through their efforts, through their ideas, Charlie went to school and is now the hatchery manager up here, as you all know. And he has a full staff that works under him. And some of them are here that are wearing the pink t-shirts that you see, as he's spoken of. And so this dream has come to fruition. And behind me is what you see as you walk through the tour. You got to see the little salmon in the raceways. You see the adults in the holding pond, which come from Rosa Dam, halfway down the canyon, just on this side, the Yakima County line. And through the efforts of Mark Johnston, the biologist that oversees that portion of it, they bring the salmon up here. When that first started, I was involved in that. I drove the truck which brought the fish up here. And today, as I look around, not only at this facility, but the new facility that is going in by Thorpe, the Melvin R. Sampson Hatchery, which will oversee coho. All these are coming to fruition today. And it's Yakima Nation that is running these facilities. There are other facilities, one in Marion Drain on behalf of the sturgeon, Rosser, which runs for fall chinook and coho as well. Klickitat, the Glenwood Hatchery. And so Yakima Nation is getting a bigger footprint out there on behalf of the fish. It is true, as Charlie had spoken of, this climate change is affecting everything, and it's affecting our fish runs. We are not getting back as many as we used to, and it's because of the water, temperature, and other factors out there. But we are still working on behalf of that resource, because it is we that have to speak on behalf of those, because they cannot speak for themselves. And so today, as we honor these foods that you see before us, that you are going to share and eat, and you will break bread with those sitting next to you. And so that is how it is supposed to be. And I'm always grateful to see our veterans out here at all our functions that we have. I know that our General Council Chairman was supposed to do this today, but due to other circumstances he had to take care of, he was unable to be here. And so he asked if I could come in his place. And so I gladly and willingly said yes. And so today, I just wanted to express these few words before we open up the meal. I will sing a song, 3 verses with the bell, and then we'll all say aye and prepare for the deal. Done. Start forming a line, but we'll go elders first, and I think we had some elders that are maybe sitting under the tent, so maybe if we can get some volunteers to see if they need to be served, and we'll serve them as well. So let's eat.
So this is an egg chamber here, and there's a lid that goes on it. They don't have them here yet. Oh, here's one. So we'll put 7,000 to 10,000 eggs in there.
Wow, and then how long are they in there?
2 to 3 or 4 months, depending on how cold they keep the water and what rate they want them to hatch at. So that once they hatch, they're trapped in here. We don't feed them in here because it'll clog up the screens, but this water comes and upwells around the eggs. So it goes from this tray all the way down, and each tray the water comes up around it, so it makes the egg feel like it's in a riverbed stream.
Oh,
So
wow.
you want to make them as comfortable as you can. They don't have to evade predators. They spend more energy growing than they do escaping danger.
Wow.
So the fish get bigger.
But they still feel like they're in the river.
Yeah, because they currently have fresh water and oxygen going through it. So
Then they can just focus on growing.
yeah,
So it might
that's
be
a big thing now. Is we have a new thing. It's called a substrate. We put in the bottom their little fingers, and it makes the fish feel like they can hide there without constantly swimming and using all their energy. So they focus their energy on growing instead of evading. And with that substrate, you get 15-20% larger fry, stronger fry. They have more brain activity, so they survive better from that point on.
And that's a new technology?
Yeah, it's called substrate, and that's what we put in the bottom of it. It's a medium that they go into and hide, and still allows the water to flow through and circulate over the eggs, but it really does add to the size and the physical ability of the fish to grow and be stronger once they release it. So once they get ready to feed, they do what's called swim up. The fry will swim up to the surface looking for food. That's when they take them and move them to either raceways like that or the big ponds outside. Usually they'll race them in here until they're figured it's like 3 or 4 inches, and then they'll put them out in the holding ponds.
And that's when they take them to the actual rivers?
Yeah, after they get to release size, depending on what size they want them to release, they'll take them out to the lakes or rivers or ponds and stock them.
So it's really just this two-step process right here for the...
Yeah, for the hatchery. And these are the same trays that they're putting in the new hatchery in Thorpe in about 4 or 5 weeks.
Is that substrate unique to your device? Or
No, there's many different types of substrate. We just have one that we're installing in the bottom of that screen, so it's a little more expensive, but it makes better fish.
Do these have the substrate over there?
No, these do not yet. Yeah, but they're going to do a test in our incubator here in a couple of months, and they're going to see how well it works for them. We had it tested in Canada at the Bureau of Fisheries in forgot the name of now, Clearwater Fish Hatchery up in Penticton, BC area, and they had really good success. So,
Wow, that is awesome.
yeah.
So they go from here, and you call these the incubation trays?
Yeah, these are called Heath stacks or Amerisaurus incubators. They're called vertical incubators. As they stack vertically like that. They can take up a much smaller footprint than raising them in tanks like that.
But then they do go over here.
Yeah. So we go through.
And then how long are they here?
Depends on how what the water temperature is and how big they want to be and how many raceways they have available out there. The bigger fish are out there, the smaller ones.
Okay, so not all the fish go out there over the bigger ones.
Not totally bigger. So they'll put 3 or 4 inches out there depending on the raceways they have. They need to raise them in big. And that shows a picture of any dead or damaged eggs happen. They have to do that once a day.
Wow. So they have to hand pick out one.
Yeah, they'll just pick out. There's only a few per tray. Some of them have none, but you don't want them to infect the tray.
They're pretty easy to pick out.
Yeah, they just use little tweezers. And it's weird, once they harden these eggs, like, they take the eggs, put them in a bucket, and they screw them. If they're not fertilized in 60 seconds, then they're not going to ever fertilize. But within a few hours after that, you can drop it on the floor and it'll bounce and it won't hurt it. They're really strong. They call hardened eggs. And you can see on this one, this is our eyed eggs. See the little black spots? That's the eyeballs. And there's a little white line between them that ends up becoming the spine of the fish.
Wow. So that's still kind of like the embryonic
Yeah.
stage.
Yep.
And how many per tray do you say?
7 to 10,000. They can adjust what they want. Sometimes it's easier to pick and clean if there's less eggs per tray. We do trout eggs and other hatcheries. They'll have 10, 11, 12,000 eggs per tray.
Wow.
Steelhead are smaller, trout are smaller than salmon eggs.
And this is critical to have this kind of technology, seeing how.
Yeah, almost every hatchery in the country or in the world that rears any quantity of fish uses our incubators. Yeah.
And we desperately need this now that the wild runs.
Yeah, and hatcheries want to increase, instead of building another hatchery, they want to double the size of this. So more and more hatcheries are adding more and more incubators every day and increasing their production within a building. So Thorpe has 18 of these stacks coming in the next few weeks. And they're just getting ready to install them.
Wow. So Thorpe is the next big one.
Yeah, in this area, yeah.
And your device is just a newer stack, basically.
This has been around for 25 years, since 1997, maybe. And actually before that, when we bought it in 97, it used to be called Heath stacks. And we haven't changed the design much, we just improved the material and lowered the production costs, so it's more affordable than it used to be.
And several ways for water.
Yeah, the key thing is how much water you're going to use. Water is becoming an issue all over the world, both in quantity and temperature and quality. So you just can't pull water out of a stream because the temperature doesn't stay consistent, or it might not be clean. So, or it might not be oxygenated well either. So the critical things here are temperature, water quality, and oxygen to make the eggs succeed at their highest survival rate. So
Oh man, that substrate is really going to boost.
the substrate is a new one that will, it has the same production level as this, the success rate. They shoot for 90 to 95% success rate. So 95% of the eggs that come out of here hopefully are going to survive to fingerling stage. And then the substrate just improves the size of the fish, the mobility, the brain activity in the fish. So it just makes a better fish, which is going to survive longer after they put them in the tanks and in the river.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah.
pretty good success rate.
Yeah, we have one of the highest success rates. There's different types of incubation. There's jar incubators and there's called katoi trays and stuff like that. This seems to be the most popular and the most successful over the last 25 or 30 years. So, yeah, it's interesting. We enjoy it.
Well, it's
It's a
fascinating.
fun thing to sell.
And it's absolutely critical. Not just the human population, but
Oh yeah.
nature.
Well, there's so many people coming on in the world that there's no way to raise enough protein to feed the people that are coming on. Cattle, pigs, and chickens are so detrimental to the environment because of their waste. And it takes up so much land, they just don't have enough room to grow that much protein. So fish is the number one way to raise the most protein with the least harm to the environment,
Wow.
because all of their waste is just fertilizer that you can put on a garden or whatever. So yeah, it's growing at about 5 to 10% a year, just the fish. And we've started selling this to multiple places. We do Atlantic salmon, Atlantic char. We do more lamprey eels down in Yakima. They're raising them. The Yakima Indians want to bring back the lamprey eels. It's kind of a dying species in the Northwest, so they're raising them down there. Do trout, a number of different species. I've even started selling this to gooey duck farms. So they're raising gooey duck and oyster seed in it, and we hope to get into clams later on
Wow.
next year.
So it's a very diverse.
Yeah, it does more than just salmon or trout. And we get into shellfish. That's a whole new, much larger market than even salmon and trout. Shellfish is huge.
And can you do saltwater stuff?
Yeah, these are all saltwater acceptable. It's all aluminum, stainless steel, and plastic. So yeah, you can run salt water through it. I sell this to the NOAA facility in Manchester Bay over in the Seattle area, and they're doing all types of experiments in it with the gooey ducks and oysters, and yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, it's grown a lot, and it's continuing to grow every year.
That's amazing. And then you could adapt it to. any
Yeah, we just
species.
changed the screen, so we put much finer screens so the oyster seed or the spat can't escape, and they'll what they call set seeds in here, and after they become little oysters or gooey ducks, they'll take them out and plant them in the ocean, and a couple of years you have full-size oysters and gooey ducks.
And those are kind of like wild too. 'cause-
Yeah, it's out in the sound. So yeah, saltwater acceptable.
Wow. That is going to be critical technology.
Yeah.
So they incubate here, and they finger length over here, and then they move them out here. So they actually go in there and catch them.
Yeah, I've done that spawning. We'll go in and grab them, separate them out, and male and female. Take the eggs out of the female and milk the male for their sperm or milk, they call it, and then fertilize it live on top of it.
So these are the ones they release.
No, they'll catch them. They'll use these for salmon.
Oh, okay.
They'll retrieve eggs from fertilize them here. And then put them in the ring.
And then they just keep the fish for another round.
No, we don't spawn a salmon and die. So these fish will all die in the process of retrieving and fertilizing the eggs.
Can you eat them after that?
You could. Now trout, you can milk, you get eggs, and they'll survive another year. Because trout don't spawn like a salmon. So once a salmon spawns, it goes back up and dies. So when they retrieve the eggs, it dies too.
Wow.
So I think these fish came from Rosa Dam, It's down halfway down the Yakima Canyon, just above Yakima, and that's in this county. But I think the hatchery there is run by the Yakima Indians or whatever. And they brought these up here for brood stock, they call it.
And they're here just for the duration of.
They're here till they spawn them this fall. They start actually in a couple, probably end of August, September. They'll start spawning, pulling the eggs out, fertilize them, and get them in our incubators.
How old are they when they come here?
They could be, I think they can either 2, 3, or 4 years old when they come back from the ocean. And the escapement, they call it, the fish that can make it from the ocean without getting eaten by orcas and seal, the return is like 1 or 2 or 3% of all the fish that go out because they have predators.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of all the millions.
Yeah, so that's why they have to spawn and hatch and release so many, because that's food for the orcas, man.
They need it probably more than we do.
Yeah. I think these are cohos, didn't it say that? Oh, shut up. They're gonna do coho, I think.
So what if we didn't have the hatchery?
You'd have to rely just on the wild runs, which the wild runs have the same escapement rate as hatchery fish coming back. So you're only going to get, of all the fish that spawn and hatch and get to the ocean, only 1, 2, or 3% are going to make it back 2, 3, or 4 years later.
So salmon would be a lot more expensive.
Oh yeah, and a lot less salmon around. Much less salmon.
Yeah, virtually none.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much totally reliant on the hatchery.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the hatcheries, we would have very, very small fish runs. You know.
So the technology that you're producing is absolutely critical.
Oh yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah. Like I say, any hatchery that raises very many fish use our incubators. And I sell these to aquaculture farms where aquaponics, where they'll raise fish in one tank, use that fertilizer and water to water other tanks that have plants, lettuce, and stuff growing in it. And then they'll harvest 3 crops of lettuce a year, and then harvest 1 load of fish a year, and then raise more fish to put in there.
Wow.
So that's the big industry that's growing, is aquaponics, where they're using the fish and the fertilizer to help fertilize and grow the plants, and then they'll sell the fish and the plants. Makes it more profitable.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing that all over the United States now. It's pretty interesting.
Circular farming.
Yeah. So they'll raise either trout, salmon, walleye. They're high value food. Like tilapia, you could raise tilapia and do that, but tilapia is only worth $2 a pound, where salmon's worth $10, $11, $12 a pound. Walleye is worth $13 or $14 a pound. So they're picking and choosing what fish they want to use in their aquaponic farms. And they're all completely indoors and in huge buildings and recirculating self-contained units. Yeah, so that's how they're growing a lot of stuff now. How you doing?